Good morning and welcome to our practice today. If it's the morning for you, we're going to start in a comfortable seated position. So make your way into the ground, onto the floor. Don't need a yoga mat. You can always use a blanket or just whatever you have available to you, which will kind of tie into our intention for today. So for our practice, the main idea is appreciating our life in this very moment as it is, without the expectation of anything, without feeling like we need to incorporate or we need to do more, or that we need to cut and take away and have less. All we're doing today is being mindful and grateful for where we are right now. So in a cross-legged seated position, place your hands on your knees. Sit up nice and tall. Start to ground yourself by feeling the floor below you, feeling the edges of your hips touching the floor. Lift the heart a little taller, relax the shoulders. Relax the neck, relax the face. And seal the lips closed and start to breathe in and out through the nose. Slowly deepening your breath and really taking your time with each inhale and with each exhale. Go ahead and place your right hand on your low belly and place your left hand on top of your heart. And continue just breathing very mindfully, noticing your breath reach each hand and feeling the gentle lift, the rise and fall of the body. Really feeling this life force, this prana, and that breath that's within you has all of the energy, all of the love, and everything that you could ever possibly need. It's right there within you. And we'll bring the hands together, palms touching. And hands in prayer, or Anjali Mudra. And here we'll just bow the chin to the chest, stretching out the back of the neck. Just find a little humble moment to appreciate this time and this body. And from here, we'll bring the right hand to the left knee. The left hand will reach behind you and use your hands to guide your twist over to the left. You can bring the chin to the shoulder if you'd like. And then left hand will switch sides over to the right knee, right hand reaches back. And again, not just twisting from the shoulders, but using your hands to help support the twist. And then the chin will continue over to the right. And exhale back to center. Let's extend the left leg nice and straight. Keep the right knee bent. And press your your right foot into your left leg. Place the hands outside of you. Just flex your left toes. Sit up nice and tall, and then slowly walk your hands forward, keeping your left foot flexed so that left leg is engaged and your hamstring is lifted, as if the bottom of your left knee was pressing into the ground. Lift your chin to help lengthen the spine. Take a nice inhale. And then exhale. Notice if you can walk the hands a little farther and bring the chin to the chest. Very good. And switch sides. Walk the hands back. Bring the left foot in. Extend the right leg away. Now we are flexing the right foot. And we're pressing the left foot into the right inner thigh. So before we fold forwards, let's lift the heart a little bit taller, making sure the heart is stacked over the hips. And then from here, we'll gently fall forwards. Notice if your hips are even, or if the left hip is in front or behind. We want to try to keep them leveled. So think of pulling that right hip back. Again, lift the chin to lengthen the spine. And then maybe you can even reach the elbows to the ground, or you just walk the hands forward. Again, you get to find the pose that feels good for you right now. Just honoring the body. And finding that edge, and then go ahead, walk the hands back. Bring the hands underneath your shoulders, bend into both knees, and we'll come into a reverse tabletop today. So when you're ready, press into the toes and lift the hips up. Squeezing the glutes, think of squeezing the inner thighs together, clawing into the fingertips and the feet. Inhale through the nose. And exhale with control. We're going to tap the hips down. And we're going to lift back up again. Inhale, press into the toes. Lift the hips up. And slowly lower back down. We're going to do that one more time. Find the strength in your body to lift lightly. Lifting the hips. And exhale, we're going to lower the hips back down. And right away, we're going to come into boat pose. So you can just lift the feet and see if that works for you. Keep the feet together, the knees together. Or if you'd like and take it a step farther, you can bring the hands towards the feet and float. Wherever you are, if the hands are on the ground or if the hands are up, keep that breath soft and steady. Keep breathing in and out the nose. Keep breathing deeply so the breath continues to go through the throat and not just in the chest. Keep the shoulders down and relaxed. The neck is long. If you'd like to go a step even farther, I encourage you to straighten the legs. We'll hold here for 3, for 2, for 1. Relax the hands, relax the feet. Cross the ankles, we'll come into regular tabletop. So walk the knees back. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and curl the toes. And from here, we're just going to rock the shoulders over the wrist and back. Bringing the hips towards the heels and forwards. So we're rocking our weight into our hands. And then away towards our heels, towards our feet. And one more time. Inhale, we really shift our weight forwards. Exhale, we send our hips back towards our heels. And then we'll lift the knees off of the ground, coming into a really active child's pose. Think of pressing the hands into the ground. Take a nice breath in through the nose. Exhale, we will meet in downward dog by lifting the hips and pressing the heels into the ground. Really opening up the chest. Bend into the knees if you need to. Find an inviting downward dog. Keeping the breath soft and steady so that the sensation of the stretch is never too overbearing or too overwhelming. Meeting yourself where you're at and finding a feeling that works for you right now. Let's bring the big toes together, big toes to touch. And together we'll lift the heels up on an inhale. And exhale, we'll drop the heels down towards the ground, really stretching the back of the legs, the Achilles. And again, inhale, lift both heels up. Exhale, lower both heels down. And one more time, inhale, lift lightly all the way to the tops of the toes. And exhale, we sink and we ground ourselves into the ground. We'll come into three-legged dog. Inhale, lift the right foot up, point into the right toes. Flex into the right toes. Point one more time into the right toes, and then bend the right knee into the chest, coming into a plank. Again, inhale, three-legged dog, point the right toes, flex the right toes, point the right toes, and bring the right knee into the chest and hold for 3, for 2, and then lower the right knee down into the ground as we come into pigeon pose. Lower the back knee, point into the back toes. Maybe you need a prop under your hip. Make sure that the hips feel comfortable and the stretch isn't too much. So adjust as you need to. And when you find your pigeon pose, keeping the heart over the hips, notice if you can lift the hands off the ground and place the hands behind you, grab opposite elbows. If that's too much, you can keep the hands on the ground. And we're going to stretch out the hips. If your hands are behind you, go ahead and release the hands back onto the ground. Start walking the fingertips forwards. Option to come onto the elbows. So kind of like a sphinx pose meets pigeon pose. Don't collapse into the arms. Don't collapse into the hands. Keep the weight nice and centered. Keep that back foot, both feet actually engaged. So thinking of the outer edges of the body, thinking of the fingertips, thinking of the toes, staying active even in stillness. And then we're going to come into a sleeping pigeon. So we're going to stack the forearms on top of each other and rest our forehead onto our wrist. Or if you're using a prop, you can place your forehead onto that. We're staying here just for a moment. And then we'll release. Place the hands back underneath your shoulders. Lift the heart up nice and tall. We're going to take a strong step back into plank pose. So curl your back foot. Lift your back knee and step the right foot back. Hold here in your plank pose. Bring the toes together. Hands are underneath the shoulder. Think of clawing the fingertips into the earth, to the ground. For 3, for 2. And from here, we're going straight to downward dog. Pressing the heels down, lifting the hips up. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. It's sometimes easy to scrunch the shoulders up, but what we want to actually do is decompress the shoulders. Keep the shoulders down, which is kind of tricky when we're in these inversions. But little by little, you will figure it out and your body will notice that little extra space. We're going to switch sides. Three-legged dog on the left side. Left foot reaches up. Point into the left toes. Flex into the right, or the left toes. Point into the left toes. And then left knee into the chest. Really find that hollow. Think of bringing your belly button towards the spine, towards the ceiling. Inhale, three-legged dog. Point into the left. Flex. Point. And again, plank pose, shifting the weight forwards. Keeping that left knee as close as you can to your chest. And one more time. Inhale, three-legged dog. And exhale, plank. Hold here. Find that strength in your body. Keep the breath soft. Notice where the body and the mind goes whenever you find a little struggle. See if you can keep that mindfulness. You are in control. 3, 2, 1. Lower that left knee down. Pigeon pose. Lower your back knee. Point into the right toes. Keep the heart over the hips. Opening up the front body by staying light on the hands. And again, you don't have to bring the hands behind you. They can stay on the ground. That's wonderful. But if you'd like, if you can, why not? Bring the hands behind you and grab opposite elbows. Wherever the hands are resting, keep the shoulders low. Breathe deep. Soften your face. Maybe even smile a little bit. It's a beautiful day. And then lower the chest down. Walk the hands forward. Come onto the elbows if that's in your practice today. Think of pressing your back foot down and pressing your index fingers down, and then all 10 fingers down. And from here, we're going to go into that sleeping pigeon. Stack the forearms, rest the forehead, and surrender. Again, just here for one more breath, one more passing moment. And slowly rise up, pressing the heart away. And from here, we're just going to swoop that back leg around, come back into a cross-legged seat. Resting the hands on top of the knees. Notice how your body is feeling now, how your breath feels. I invite you to close the eyes, or if you'd like to keep them open, find a spot in front of you that you can focus on. We call this drishti in yoga. It's a way to focus your gaze. But sometimes just closing the eyes helps as well. Take a moment to feel any sensations in your body, releasing any remaining tension, which is always much easier said than done. But with a mindful inhale, we can navigate any space in our body that maybe feels tight. And with the support of our exhale, we can remind ourselves that we are able to let it go. Notice any sounds around you right now. Any sounds that are near or distant. Notice the temperature of your skin, of any breeze. And come back to the sound of your breath, the sensation and the feeling of your breath. Taking deeper and deeper inhales and exhales. Getting heavier with each breath. Slowing down. If you feel like you need a few more minutes to continue breathing and sitting in stillness, you can always do that. From here, we'll go ahead and we'll bring the hands together, hands to the heart. I'd like to say thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy, for being here. For taking the time to take care of yourself, knowing that with each breath, each mindful action, taking it one day at a time, we are fully capable of enhancing, richening, and bringing immense love and quality into our life. From the inside out and from the outside in. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in another video. Namaste.